A town of Green Bay, Wisconsin, nestled along the banks of the Fox River, a horrific crime would soon send shockwaves through the community. A case so gruesome, so unimaginable, that even the most seasoned investigators were left shaken.
What Ms. Shabiznis told you on February 23rd of 2022?
She described playing with his penis. She had a dildo that she placed into Shad's mouth and to his anus. She also cuddled the body.
This is the chilling true crime story of Taylor Shabiznis and her boyfriend, Shad Therian. A tale of love turned deadly, betrayal, and unspeakable violence. A case that left a family shattered, a town in disbelief, and the world asking, how could such a heinous act of violence occur? It was the morning of February 23rd, 2022, when Green Bay police officers were called to a modest home on Stony Brook Lane.
Very positive. My son's head is in a bucket. I know bucket in my basement.
What makes you think that?
Because I looked in the bucket.
And what did you see?
Exactly what I told you.
The call came from a distraught resident who had made a horrifying discovery in the basement. What officers found upon arrival was beyond comprehension.
Did you both see this?
I opened the towel, I picked up the towel and dropped it because I don't know what the f is, man. I have bad vision. And she like, is that what I think? I don't know. What the fuck is it?
Do you want to stay with those two? I'll just come see it.
Where's it at? Right there. Look right, there's a bucket where it's fallen.
In a bucket on the floor was the severed head of 24-year-old Shad Therian. Bloodstains led a gruesome trail throughout the house, where investigators would uncover more horrifying discoveries. Shad's torso was stuffed inside a storage tote, and his other body parts were found scattered throughout the basement in plastic bags. Shad Therian, a young man described by friends and family as kind-hearted, funny, and full of life, had been brutally murdered and dismembered. The question was, who could have done this, and why? Police didn't have to search far for their suspect. Just hours later, they found 24-year-old Taylor Shabiznis, Shad's girlfriend, at a nearby residence.
Nothing. Hey. Is this blood? Does this look like blood to you? Or am I just tripping? Bloody footprint? You see this right here?
Could possibly be blood.
Hey, who did that? Hi, Taylor. How's it going? Officer Russell with the Green Bay Police Department. Just make sure you ain't got nothing on you here. With Taylor. Taylor, you have one more for your, wrist. Just put your hands behind your back, quick.
Anything else in your apartment?
You got blood on your hands here too. No, on your hands. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to.
What apartment is it?
What apartment are you in?
Do we have an Adam 3 come up? He cuts in there, get up here.
On the double.
Which apartment?
One is what they came back to. Yeah, go. Guys, hurry and get here now. Watch this window right here. Gun. Go in here. Come to the back of the apartment. That's where we are. You come over here. 2 more will be fine. If 84 is here, you have contact with the male.
Hands up! Walk out towards me!
Have a seat.
Have a seat. Out towards me! Get on the ground!
Who else is in the apartment? Be straight up. Tomes? Who else? Just Tomes? Is he armed? Nobody's armed?
Nobody's armed.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Bring up police! Everybody get here! Announce yourself now!
Go ahead. Negative, we got it up here.
She was covered in dried blood, wearing only a hoodie and sweatpants. When officers questioned her, she seemed almost indifferent to the gravity of the situation.
I hate this. Never in my life. I'd rather be called. Clean the up. What are you doing?
Taylor admitted to the crime almost immediately, describing in chilling detail how she had killed and dismembered Shad. According to her confession, the murder occurred after the couple had smoked methamphetamine and engaged in consensual sexual activity. Taylor claimed that during the act, she wrapped a metal chain around Shad's neck and strangled him until he stopped breathing.
Did you want Shad to be dead?
No, it was out of random. Like, I wasn't expecting that, and it kind of threw me off guard. And it was in an open place, like, you went in the basement, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty open.
Well, I haven't done it, but is it?
It was weird. It was really weird. And you open the door to the outside, and you go down the stairs, and it's right there. Like, you can see everything. Like, ready to go down the stairs.
And so, where did you get the chain?
I don't know. He pulled it out of his pocket.
He pulled it out.
He had two of them, one for me, one for them.
Can you describe them to me?
Chain
link?
Chain link and silver.
Silver? Okay. And what size? Was it like a dog chain or a large lock type of chain? You know what I'm saying?
This big.
So silver chains.
Yes.
And he had two of them. And what did you guys do with them?
We put them around their necks.
You did. Okay. And then what were you doing while they were around their necks?
I was strangling them.
You were strangling them?
I was having fun with them, and then
Was their clothes on or off?
he had his shorts on.
He had shorts on. How old?
I don't know. I didn't really care at the time. But,
Did he ever put the chain around you? Was the chain ever around your neck?
I put it around my
Do you have any marks or anything?
He didn't get the chance to strangle me.
Can I just see? You didn't get a chance to strangle you? Was that he was going to though? Or was that part of the?
I thought that was the thing, and then like I don't know, I just went a little crazy.
So when did you realize that Shad was not alive anymore?
You know, his face turned purple. He was coughing up blood and he was pissing.
He was pissing himself. His face was all purple.
I still didn't stop. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what was blood. And then
So his blood was coming out of his
I kept on
mouth?
feeling his heartbeat. Hearing his heartbeat.
I'm sorry?
Hearing his heartbeat spread.
Okay. Did you hear it stop?
No. Heartbeat. No.
Okay. So,
I'm gonna try to do that.
did you figure he was dead then?
Yeah.
And what did you do?
Played with him a little bit.
Have sex with his body at all? head points or any type of contact? You know, obviously the stuff, but.
I grinded on him, I put the in there.
You grinded on?
Yeah, I listened.
Did you ever put his in your video? Okay, you just grind on him?
What followed was a series of actions so brutal, so methodical, that even seasoned detectives struggled to process it. Taylor used a bread knife to dismember Shad's body, working for hours in the basement.
Because you said you cut his head off first, correct?
Yeah.
Can you describe where was he laying on the bed?
I pulled him,
Okay.
like, say this is the bed.
Okay, so this is the top of the bed?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I pulled him, and then his head was hanging off.
So he was probably laying face out. So
Yeah.
his back was on the bed.
Back was on
His
the bed.
head's partially off the bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the tub was like right there.
The pail that you had the
Yeah.
head in before? Okay. So basically his head's here and the bucket's right here.
Yeah, and then from there, I started this.
You cut his head off.
Yeah.
Okay. After you cut his head off, I know you said you dumped the pail at one point into the shower.
In the shower, yeah.
Did you leave the body there for a while to drain into the pail, or what? How?
It's all in the tub, in the blue tub. You found the blue tub, right?
I don't know if they're slowly going through the scene, so there's a lot of his blood. Did you pull the tub under there?
Oh no, I moved the tub like real fast.
Oh, so you cut the head and then pulled the tub under there.
No, when I was dismembering the body,
Yep.
there was, I'm going like this with a knife, so there's blood going everywhere, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, and then,
But initially when you cut his head off, there was a pail underneath, correct? Okay, so the head went into the pail,
Yeah.
the blood went into the pail. Did the blood bucket fill all the way up with blood?
no,
No? Okay.
no.
Then, did you move them again when we started with the pail? Because you're talking about that blue Tupperware thing.
So I think there's a black pail, and then there's a blue Tupperware thing, right? And then his head was hanging off. And then I cut the head off, and then I moved it over, and I brought it back, and then I put it in the pail.
Okay, so initially the head went into the blue Tupperware thing, kind of?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of blood in that one right now.
In the blue Tupperware thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, at any point did you, like, before you, because you said you removed the head first, did you start removing limbs right away, or did you kind of wait a little while? And...
That's the weird thing, like, because when it started happening, like, I started, like, nodding out.
Okay.
And then I was going crazy on the limbs, like, even while I was sleeping, and then it looked messed up, and I didn't like it.
Okay. But you believe the blue tub, that big tub, was probably, I'm thinking it's 4 years straight, it's only like Tupperware tubs about like this size. That's your cubic foot one, and that's where most of the blood is. Along with a bunch of his organs.
The organs are everywhere too.
His organs are everywhere?
Yeah.
Did you like hide organs in the house?
Oh, they're in plastic bags. They're in plastic bags.
In the tub?
In backpacks.
In the backpack?
In the backpacks, and then in the...
Did you remove all organs, like his intestines and everything, or where are the intestines? Do you remember?
They're gonna be in a plastic bag.
They're all in plastic bags
They're gonna be in a
too.
plastic
So that
bag.
blue tub is almost just all blood, is what you? I thought you said.
It should be like only like this much.
Alright. Okay.
She later told police that she had planned to take all the body parts with her, but became too lazy to finish the job. "I liked choking him," she said with a chilling laugh. "It felt good."
I was strangling him.
You were strangling him?
I was having fun with him, and then, yeah, I'm sorry. That's what happened.
No, you know, it's feelings about a mom and a sister and a dad and family, and more and more of being sorry, you know. You killed them.
Didn't mean for that to happen.
You need to kill them. But you didn't try to help him?
No, I didn't. No, it works both ways. Like, I have no idea.
Right, you knew he was gonna die, so.
I mean, I didn't, but at the same time, I woke up once. That's bad. I didn't know what to do, because, like, he was gonna be like, ah, fuck, I don't know. You know what I mean? Because, like, I don't know.
But you liked it?
I liked it. I'm like, fuck. Like, it was, like, I didn't know what to do, because, like, I liked it, so.
Well, you knew that you didn't want to call the police or ambulance or anything, so.
Actually, I thought about it. And then, I was getting angry at myself. Very angry at myself. I didn't have a crack.
Yeah.
Sucks not having it.
Taylor's behavior during her interrogation was erratic and deeply unsettling. At times, she laughed and joked with officers. At other times, she gave graphic, emotionless descriptions of her actions. Her lack of remorse was as disturbing as the crime itself. As investigators pieced together the events of that night, a dark and disturbing timeline began to emerge. Taylor had not only killed Shad, but had done so with premeditation. She later admitted to fantasizing about murder and claimed she had gone crazy during the act. Evidence collected at the scene, including the knives, chains, and bags, painted a horrifying picture of what had transpired in the basement. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was calculated, methodical, and disturbingly cold. The trial of Taylor Schabusiness was as shocking as the crime itself. Her defense team argued that her actions were influenced by severe mental health issues and the effects of methamphetamine. They claimed she was not in her right mind at the time of the murder, but prosecutors painted a different picture, a picture of premeditated murder, pointing to Taylor's detailed confessions and her lack of remorse.
It was a series of conscious efforts. It was continued effort over, as she said, 3 to 5 minutes, as she's telling and describing for Detective Groff and Detective Kemp, pantomiming how she's pulling harder, how she's glibly talking about how he's turning purple, and I liked it. I'm pulling harder. He's coughing up blood. I'm pulling harder. I kept going. I was waiting for him to die. This really is an involved process. It's a method of ending another person's life that really is quite significant, and I think evinces some significant concerns going forward, both in looking at the nature of the offense, as we have to, but in looking at some of the other factors the court's to consider, and which I'll be commenting on earlier. It's really one of the most horrific ways to end a person's life. And again, it's bad enough to do to anyone, but as we heard, there was this level of trust and friendship and familiarity between the two, which I think is just really makes the acts of the defendant really incomprehensible in that respect. To engage in the acts that she did with his body, which I'm not going to comment on what those are. The court and counselor are aware of what happened, and the systematic and organized and laborious efforts she undertook. Again, that's nothing we've seen. The defendant herself is telling us why this happened, and it wasn't because methamphetamine, it wasn't because of mental illness. She's telling law enforcement why this happened. It happened because she liked it. It's because she wanted to do it. And again, throughout the entirety of this case, we see this underlying motive is essentially, it's kind of consistent, right? We see, and we have seen acts of acting out, both in court and to examiners who are seeing her. It's consistent in the state's view with a lack of remorse. We consider the background of the defendant, and I echo the comments earlier. That's not a childhood, that's not an early adolescence that anyone should have to go through, and that's, it's difficult to hear some of that stuff. But when we consider that sort of background information, unfortunately, we deal with a lot of people who have substance abuse issues in the criminal justice system that lead them to make choices they wouldn't normally make. that leads them to become thieves or become burglars or become misdemeanant offendants. Really, I'm not sure we have a nexus here between that underlying substance issue or mental health history and the conduct that we're sentencing her for today.
In the end, Taylor Schabusiness was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Life imprisonment without the possibility of extended supervision. I believe that's appropriate in light of the findings that I've already made. As far as count 2, mutilation of a corpse as a repeater, Class F felony, I'm going to adopt the recommendation of the pre-sentence investigation writer, 7.5 years of initial confinement followed by 4 years of extended supervision. That'll be consecutive to count 1. As far as count 3, third-degree sexual assault as a repeater, Class G felony, I'm going to impose 3 years of initial confinement followed by 4 years of extended supervision. That will be consecutive to count 2 and count 1. As far as the revocation cases, I'm going to impose 1 year of incarceration on each of those counts. Those will run concurrent to the other offenses. I've reviewed, as I've indicated, reviewed both of the pre-sentence investigation reports. There's certainly valuable things in them. I'm going to, as conditions of supervision, I'm going to require no contact with the victim's family, maintain absolute sobriety, complete SOT assessment and treatment follow-through, obtain and maintain full-time employment. To the extent there's ever supervision, GPS monitoring. I'm going to require an AOD assessment and follow-through, psychological evaluation and follow-through. The recommendations that are contained in the pre-sentence investigation report submitted by the defense indicates or suggests that there be services engaged in for substance abuse and other mental health issues. That's a reasonable suggestion. And I think I've encompassed it in the recommendations that I've made, which is there needs to be a compass evaluation and follow through with any treatment recommendations that are proposed. But again, an AODA assessment and follow through and psychological evaluation so that Ms. Schabusiness can get the help that she needs.
Her chilling demeanor throughout the trial left no doubt in the minds of the jury or the judge. For Shad Therian's family, the pain of his loss is immeasurable. They remember him not as a victim, but as a loving son, brother, and friend who brought joy to those around him. The case of Taylor Schabusiness serves as a grim reminder of the devastating consequences of untreated mental illness, substance abuse, and unchecked violence. It raises difficult questions about the systems that failed both Shad and Taylor, questions that remain unanswered to this day. True crime stories often leave us with more questions than answers. What drives someone to commit such unspeakable acts? And how can we, as a society, prevent tragedies like this from happening again? One thing is certain: the story of Taylor and Shad will haunt those who hear it for years to come.
Jess, many of the neighbors behind me tell me they were close with the Candy family. Whether it was a small wave in passing or the kids coming over to play with pets, they would have never expected Jonathan Candy would kill his family.
Well, no reports were filed at the courthouse today, but we do know the youngest child survived. Police tell us he's the one who notified authorities.
It's unclear what made him want to go through the home, killing the children, but make no mistake about it. What happened in that residence was nothing short of a massacre. Those children were hunted down and killed after the woman was killed.
Hi everyone. Today we'll discuss the tragic Candy family massacre. Imagine a 10-year-old waking up to find his entire family dead, his father, mother, and 3 brothers in a pool of blood. This heartbreaking story might make you question the safety of those closest to you.
I just wish the nightmare would be over. I wish it was all a bad dream and that we would wake up and that they would still be here.
Jonathan Candy's family seemed like any other American family. 4 boys and 2 parents living a normal life. No one suspected anything unusual behind their closed doors.
I kept asking Cooper to please snap and text Ethan, and has he seen Ethan today? Has he talked to him? And I was calling Lindsay and I was messaging Dylan and nobody would respond.
They were your all-American family. This is something, I mean, I could live 100,000 lifetimes and never expect this out of that.
I could have never imagined that ever in my whole entire life, you know? And I'm still in shock.
Even neighbors who interacted with them daily never suspected anything was wrong at the Candy home.
Him and his kids seemed like they always got along. He just was just a family man. I mean, I never expected this. We were just in total shock. Yeah. The kids were real friendly. Everybody here loved the kids. Swam here at his house regularly. They played with my dog.
Like we have families down here that they work, and he'd come over and mow their lawns and take care of the family. Anything he needed, he'd be there for you.
In a 2022 interview, a couple described their favorite Yukon bakery during a Discovering Oklahoma episode. They appeared as a vibrant, happy family. Tragically, only the youngest son remains after Jonathan Candy, husband and father, killed his wife and 3 children before taking his own life. This shocking act came from within the family rather than an outside threat. Jonathan Candy, 42, from Yukon, Oklahoma, worked part-time at Paycom Center for events like NBA games, where his humor brightened the atmosphere. He attended Bishop McGuinness Catholic High School and married Lindsay Terry from Prague, Oklahoma. Known as a friendly family man who supported neighbors by mowing lawns and helping out, this incident left everyone in shock. She was a joyful choir member as a young girl. Jonathan Candy, the jokester, charmed Lindsay Terry with his humor. Their marriage appeared smooth, with no signs of domestic issues, and their 4 sons seemed happy. Their Facebook page was filled with family photos, portraying them as a typical happy family. Jonathan often expressed that his family meant everything to him. Then, on April 22nd, something unimaginable happened. The youngest son's name is withheld for privacy reasons. On April 22nd, 2024, he awoke expecting an ordinary day after a night interrupted only briefly by a fire alarm. At 9:00 a.m., he found his entire family in a pool of blood. A 10-year-old boy called 911, reporting his family dead. Police discovered a massacre at the Candy home near Southwest 29th Street and Check Hall Road. 39-year-old Lindsay Candy and her sons, Dylan, Ethan, and Lucas, were shot dead. The suspected killer, Jonathan Candy, died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound in an apparent murder-suicide. The motive remains unclear, with the youngest boy spared. Neighbors saw emergency vehicles arrive but were unsure of the events. Officials found bodies on different floors with no signs of struggle. Questions about why Jonathan spared his son remain unanswered, as relatives prefer not to involve the boy in further investigations. The case remains a mystery. Dr. Joni Johnston, a clinical and forensic psychologist, expressed shock, noting she has never seen a case where a parent spares one child after murdering others. Friends and neighbors noticed nothing unusual before the incident. Even Jonathan's colleagues mentioned he attended a game just hours prior. There were no visible signs of domestic violence or typical warning signals in murder-suicide cases. The motive is unclear, though an altercation between Jonathan and Lindsay occurred the night of the murders. It's speculated that Jonathan acted impulsively during an argument with his wife and then couldn't bear leaving his children without parents or facing disgrace himself. Investigations aim to determine if the family faced financial crises which can lead to depression, particularly in men who feel burdened. This may result in distorted thinking and hopelessness. Investigators are also exploring whether Jonathan had hidden mental health issues. The stigma around seeking help for mental health often leads to mistakes affecting lives. Depression in men manifests differently than in women. Men may isolate, become irritable, and express anger instead of sadness. Signs can be missed by family and friends unaware of suicidal tendencies. It's tragic when people don't seek timely help, as deep depression can lead to fatal decisions. The murder motive remains a mystery. On Lindsay Candy's Facebook page, her friend Kami Cruz shared memories upon hearing the news. They sang together in the church choir and attended school until graduating in 2002, highlighting Lindsay's bright nature. Lindsay recounted a childhood memory of hiding in a treehouse with her sister, which led their worried parents to call the police. Ultimately, everyone laughed, relieved the girls were safe. Cruz mentioned their enduring friendship and was devastated by the Candy family's death. On Facebook, she noted Lindsay's special bond with her boys and her ability to bring laughter. Dylan Candy was Jonathan and Lindsay's first son. Sociable and passionate about drumming, he graduated from Mustang High School in May 2023. At Oklahoma Baptist University, he joined the Bison Brigade Marching Band as a freshman, playing first bass drum due to his skill. Brian Stackhouse praised Dylan for his dedication and positive attitude despite challenges, recalling Dylan's excitement over receiving a solo in the drum line during band camp. Dylan was so happy he couldn't sit still, moving through his day with excitement. His bandmates supported each other after his death, and a memorial with his bass drum and uniform was set up to honor him and his family. 14-year-old Ethan Candy, the second son of the Candy family, was a 9th grader at Mustang North Middle School, known for being active in baseball. His coach praised Ethan as an energetic player with natural talent who always played joyfully. Fondly called Sweet Candyman, he is deeply missed by best friends Cooper Armstrong and Wyatt Livy. A memorial bench will be placed at Mustang Youth Sports Complex to honor him. Lucas Candy, 12, was the youngest murder victim and a student at Meadowbrook Intermediate. He loved playing outdoors during Ethan's soccer practice and is remembered as bright and joyful. The youngest child of the Candy family faces growing up knowing his father murdered their entire family. At 10 years old, he has no immediate family left, no parents or siblings, and must seek closure for this tragedy without clear answers. This is a heavy burden for a 10-year-old with his future ahead. He is now in the care of extended family, and the community is rallying to support him. Social workers are ensuring he receives necessary emotional support. A GoFundMe has been set up to assist with his upkeep and education, and community contributions have been heartwarming, showing he isn't alone in these tough times. The sudden news shocked those who knew the family. Jonathan's family expressed confusion and devastation at local station KF, saying they have many unanswered questions. Neighbor Michael Burham struggles to believe they're gone and already misses them, while Brian Graham noted how helpful Jonathan was. Ethan's coach, TJ Armstrong, remembers Jonathan as grateful and affectionate, and Rhonda Armstrong cherished their smiles that brightened her day. Lindsay's enthusiastic cheers at games mark them as a kind, happy family, making their loss even harder to accept. Investigators are searching for clues behind Jonathan's drastic actions, examining his interactions for signs of mental distress. With no prior indicators of mental health issues, finding a motive is frustrating. Authorities emphasize the importance of seeking help and breaking the stigma around mental health. Jonathan Candy's case shows that even those who seem happy may struggle internally. Compassion and connection can prevent negative emotions from building up. Support groups and counseling services are available for those affected by the tragedy. The Candy family was loved by many, and efforts focus on supporting surviving members during this time of grief. Stay tuned for more stories. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next episode.
That's where I got burned there. My scars tell a story. When the police found me, I was told I was 10 days away from death. I was in love with Jordan, and it took me a long time to have the courage to say she was abusing me. People always ask me, why didn't you walk away? But it's so complicated. As each day goes by, I'm understanding it more.
In the quiet town of Stewartby, Bedfordshire, a story unfolded that challenged perceptions of domestic abuse and highlighted the often overlooked plight of male victims. This is the story of Alex Skeel and Jordan Worth. Alex Skeel and Jordan Worth met as teenagers, their paths crossing in college. They quickly became inseparable, their relationship blossoming with the promise of young love.
Every Saturday and Sunday, I was playing football, pretty much. I didn't really care about girls. I didn't at all, until Jordan came along. She was very caring, confident, loving. She just showed a real interest in me.
To the outside world, they seemed like the perfect couple, happy, devoted, and full of potential. But beneath the surface, a darker reality was taking shape. As their relationship progressed, Jordan's behavior began to change. What started as small, seemingly innocuous comments about Alex's appearance or his choice of friends soon escalated into something more sinister. Jordan's control over Alex tightened, and she began to isolate him from his friends and family.
She'd say, I don't really like the colour grey, I don't think you should wear the colour grey. Oh, I don't like your hair like that, you should have your hair like this. Oh, I don't like the shoes that you're wearing. But I never took it as a negative, it was just more or less like, oh, it won't impress her, I won't wear it again, sort of thing.
The once vibrant and outgoing young man became withdrawn, his world shrinking to the confines of their relationship. Behind closed doors, Jordan's control became violent. The emotional manipulation that marked the early days of their relationship turned into physical abuse. Alex found himself trapped in a cycle of fear and intimidation, his life dictated by Jordan's unpredictable moods and violent outbursts. The abuse was relentless. Alex endured physical assaults, often left with bruises and injuries that he struggled to hide. He became malnourished, his weight dropping alarmingly as Jordan controlled his access to food. Despite the severity of his situation, Alex felt he had nowhere to turn. The shame and stigma surrounding male victims of domestic abuse kept him silent, his suffering hidden from the world. In 2017, a concerned neighbor, alarmed by distressing sounds from Alex's home, decided to call the police. This call became a turning point in Alex's life. When the police arrived, they found Alex in a dire state, severely underweight, covered in injuries, and in desperate need of medical attention.
We arrived, we had to do quite a bit of knocking and, police opened the door, shouting, and eventually Jordan came to the door and she looked fine, she was sort of casually dressed and didn't look dishevelled or anything, and she straight away said, oh, there's been a problem, Alex has hurt himself. She let us in and we left, Alex went to hospital.
I was lying there with like a paracetamol drip in my arm, and they had to scrape all of the rubbish skin away, and literally it was just left red, pink and raw.
The authorities' intervention marked the beginning of the end of Alex's ordeal. For the first time in years, he was free from Jordan's control, with his path to recovery finally within reach. The police investigation revealed the full extent of the abuse Alex had endured, shocking the nation and shedding light on the issue of male domestic abuse victims. Jordan Worth was arrested and charged with grievous bodily harm with intent. During the trial, harrowing details of her abuse were revealed, challenging societal perceptions of domestic violence and highlighting the need for greater awareness and support for male victims. In 2018, Jordan was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison. The case was a landmark moment, not only for Alex, but for all male victims of domestic abuse. It underscored the reality that domestic violence knows no gender and that anyone can be a victim. With Jordan behind bars, Alex began the long and difficult journey of rebuilding his life. The scars from his ordeal, both physical and emotional, would take time to heal, but Alex was determined to move forward. He found strength in sharing his story, using his experience to raise awareness and support others in similar situations. Alex became an advocate for male victims of domestic abuse, speaking out about his experiences and challenging the stigma that often surrounds them. His courage and resilience inspired many, offering hope to those who felt trapped and alone. Today, Alex Skeel's journey exemplifies the strength of the human spirit and serves as a reminder that domestic abuse knows no boundaries. His story challenges us to look beyond stereotypes and support all victims of domestic violence, regardless of gender. Reflecting on Alex's story highlights the importance of speaking out and seeking help. No one should suffer in silence, and there is always hope for a better future. The story of Alex Skeel and Jordan Worth serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of awareness and support for all victims of domestic abuse. It challenges us to confront our assumptions and work towards a world where everyone can live free from fear and violence.
Yeah, I turned up in the light to wake up my husband, and it's really, really bad.
What's really bad?
My husband.
Did he shoot himself?
No.
Where's your husband at?
No, lay down, lay down. I'm so sorry. Listen.
Where's your husband at?
He's in our room. He was laying next to me.
Okay, is he awake?
No, he's dead.
February 21st, 2008. A day that would forever change the Oxley family. What was once a happy home would soon become the site of a tragic crime that would leave a family broken, a young girl traumatized, and a mystery that seemed unsolvable. In the midst of the turmoil, one voice, the smallest, most innocent, would uncover a truth no one could have anticipated. Today, we dive deep into the chilling case of Ben Oxley's murder, a case that would take years to unravel, filled with twists, secrets, and betrayals. At the heart of it all, a 6-year-old girl, Alyssa Oxley, who witnessed something crucial that would eventually bring the truth to light. But what happened that fateful night? And who was responsible for Ben's death? Let's begin. Ben Oxley was a man rebuilding his life. In 2004, after a painful divorce, he was a single father to his daughter, Alyssa. The years of fighting with his ex-wife had taken their toll, but Ben was determined to make a fresh start. That fresh start came when he met Melissa, a woman who would not only become his wife, but also Alyssa's stepmother. Their story wasn't perfect, but it was a story of hope and second chances. In 2006, Ben and Melissa tied the knot, and by 2008, they were living in a peaceful home in Nevada. Alyssa, who had been caught in the middle of a bitter custody battle between Ben and her mother, Dawn, was finally settling into a stable environment. Ben and Melissa were raising her as their own, and the future seemed bright. They had even won full custody of Alyssa, ending the turbulent custody arrangements with Dawn. However, this tranquility would soon be shattered. On the night of February 21st, 2008, Melissa woke up to an unimaginable nightmare. She was in bed with her husband, Ben, when she found him cold and lifeless, blood covering his body. The shock was overwhelming, and the horror of that moment would change the course of her life, and Alyssa's forever. The 911 call came in just after midnight. Melissa, in a panic, told the dispatcher that her husband was dead, shot in the back of the head while they were both sleeping in bed. She mentioned that she believed an intruder was still in the house, but when police arrived, there were no signs of forced entry. Nothing was stolen. The scene was eerily calm, and yet the violence of the crime was apparent. The camera shows reenacted footage of Melissa speaking to the police, looking distraught as she points to the bedroom. Police found Ben's body in the master bedroom. A shotgun wound to the back of his skull was immediately apparent. There were no signs of struggle. No weapon was found nearby, but there was something else that stood out: Melissa's strange behavior. She was the only one in the house who could have known what happened, yet her story seemed incomplete. She claimed to have fallen asleep next to Ben, but saw nothing when the shot was fired. Suspicion quickly turned to Melissa. Her sudden financial gain from Ben's death, $400,000 from his life insurance policy, raised eyebrows. She denied knowing about the policy, but the investigators didn't fully believe her. Melissa became the prime suspect, and the police began to question her every move. Was it possible that Melissa killed her husband for the money, or was there something else going on? Alyssa was just 6 years old. At that age, children are not typically seen as key witnesses in a murder investigation. But what Alyssa knew would soon change everything. During her questioning by the police, Alyssa revealed something that no one had expected. She had been awake that night. Despite the police believing she was asleep, Alyssa's memory of that night was clear. She had seen something, someone, standing outside her bedroom door just moments before the gunshot rang out.
I woke up and heard this creak at the front door. I heard it and I just looked out and I saw someone walking in.
Do you know who they were?
I don't know who it was.
Alyssa didn't recognize the figure, and she couldn't remember any details that could identify them, but she knew that the person wasn't supposed to be there. This revelation would send the investigation down an entirely new path. The focus shifted. If Alyssa wasn't asleep, it meant that the killer wasn't someone inside the immediate family. At least, not the people the police had been focusing on. The spotlight moved to Alyssa's birth mother, Dawn, and her boyfriend, James Matlin. Dawn had a history of criminal behavior, addiction, petty crime, and a volatile relationship with Ben, which made her a prime suspect. But there was no direct evidence linking her to Ben's death. Dawn's alibi was shaky. She had been drinking that night, and her relationship with Ben was far from cordial. But when the police dug deeper, they found more than just a troubled ex-wife. They found a motive. The investigation took another shocking turn when Dawn's own son, Devin, came forward. The teenager testified that his mother had been planning Ben's murder for months. He claimed that Dawn had been angry about losing custody of Alyssa and wanted to get back at Ben. But it wasn't just Dawn. James Matlin, her boyfriend, had also been involved in the plot. James, who had a criminal history of his own, initially denied any involvement. But when confronted with the overwhelming evidence, he broke down. James confessed that he had helped Dawn execute the plan to kill Ben, but he had never intended to be the one to pull the trigger. He was merely the accomplice. And when James spilled the truth, the pieces of the puzzle finally fit together. Dawn and James were arrested, but the case wasn't over yet. As part of a plea deal, Dawn was granted immunity in exchange for testifying against James. She confessed to orchestrating the murder and betraying the man who had been a father figure to her daughter. James Matlin was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Dawn, granted immunity, walked free, but she would never regain her daughter's trust. The trial had concluded, but for Alyssa, the healing was just beginning. The young girl who had witnessed so much pain and loss was left to pick up the pieces of her shattered life. Her father was gone. Her mother, Dawn, was a convicted murderer. And the family she had known was forever changed. But despite everything, Alyssa found a new sense of stability.
I decided to forgive him and that I wanted him to have hope.
She was welcomed into a new, unconventional family. The story of Alyssa Oxley is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, truth has a way of emerging. It's a story about family, resilience, and the unyielding strength of a child who refused to let the truth be buried. Alyssa's courage in the face of such unspeakable tragedy is a testament to the power of the human spirit. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this story moving, please consider subscribing to the Crime Tales for more deep dives into real-life mysteries, heart-wrenching tragedies, and incredible tales of survival. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, take care of yourselves and those around you. Until next time, stay safe.
Doing, brother? Thank God. Doing, man. Look at this stupid man in her car. I was hiding in the woods, man. I couldn't find her ID, so I said, Snapped the picture and then took off in the woods. Perfect, dude. But you can watch the news tonight or something. I'm sure it's gonna be on there. You know what I'm saying? So, right. But I just want to tell you to know where it's done. Sweet.
In the warm, sunlit streets of Florida, a dispute over the custody of a child would escalate into a violent crime that would leave a mother fighting for her life, a family torn apart, and a man's future destroyed. This is all about Tommy Carlton and Elizabeth Nichols, a family broken by obsession, anger, and a brutal act of desperation. In 1996, Tommy Lyle Carlton and Elizabeth Nicholas met while working as nurses in a busy Florida hospital. They became close friends, supporting each other through the challenges of their demanding jobs. That friendship quickly turned into something more, and by the end of that year, they were married. In 1998, their son Eric was born. At first, the joy of becoming parents was overwhelming, but soon after Eric's birth, cracks began to appear in their marriage. Tommy started to become distant, and the couple found themselves arguing constantly over mundane issues. 6 weeks after Eric's birth, Elizabeth was still relieving from the pain of gallbladder surgery. The storm brewing at home was unanticipated by Elizabeth. But 6 weeks after their son's birth, Tommy, her husband of several years, visited the hospital with his son, Eric, and told Elizabeth that she needed to keep his child for a night. Then he informed her that the world abruptly stopped. As Tommy introduced her to a male companion, Tommy turned to her, his eyes full of something new. He said it. "I'm gay." Her heart sank. She wasn't prepared for this. She didn't know if she could handle it or not. Tommy left the hospital with his companion. The moment Elizabeth saw them together, she felt a coldness creep into her heart because she hadn't been prepared for it. By the time Tommy spends more of his time away from home with his male partner, the frustration that had been simmering for weeks with verbal altercations finally bubbled over into a physical altercation. By the time she filed for divorce in 2000, Elizabeth felt empty. After the divorce, Elizabeth shared the joint custody of Eric. Joint custody seemed like a fair balance, though Eric spent more time with Elizabeth, who had primary custody. Tommy, ever the doting father, initially ensured regular child support payments, wanting to provide the best for his boy, even from afar. The first few years all went well, but soon Tommy stopped making child support payments. It began after Elizabeth again started dating a man named Jay Saltzman. Tommy couldn't ignore the simmering jealousy and unease that began to creep into his heart. As time passed, his support payments stopped altogether, and he also wanted to fight for custody for their son, Eric. He convinced himself that something was wrong, that Jay and Elizabeth's relationship might be putting Eric's life in danger. Elizabeth tired from ongoing conflict between Tommy and herself. She filed for the child support terms modified. After a few hurdles, she was finally given a court date for May 14, 2009. Tommy received the order to appear for the hearing. He took a complete U-turn. He stopped taking any of Elizabeth's calls and did not make contact with either of them. Tommy erased himself from the life of his ex-wife and son's life. But wouldn't longer, Tommy has sinister intentions for Elizabeth. In June 2008, Tommy met Ricky Donovan while attending Narcotics Anonymous, a non-profit fellowship. After striking up a friendship, Tommy told Ricky that he was looking for ways to take his wife out of the picture. According to Tommy, his wife Elizabeth and his boyfriend harming his son, and Tommy want custody of his son. Then Ricky introduced him to James Wood. James and Tommy developed a friendship for a few weeks. James also has a son from an old relationship, and he hadn't seen him for many years. Then Tommy shared his plans to eliminate Elizabeth, discussing various methods including poisoning and car tempering that looked like an accident. Tommy went as far as to suggest that if James helped him to kill Elizabeth, he would kill James's ex-wife so he could be with his son. After that, offered him a solution. On May 4th, 2009, Tommy met James at Quality Inn Hotel in Osceola County. James had informed one of his friends named Billy with whom to plan Elizabeth's perfect murder. Without Tommy's knowledge, the meeting begins, and Tommy was being recorded by Billy in case Tommy might later try to deny his involvement.
He's with this guy who's beating the scrap out of my son. I can't see him, but when I see him, and talk to him enough, and he's still in there. He's like, called me up on the phone crying. The last time I talked to him, he called me on the phone, he's crying. He's like, why can't you come get me, man? And he's crying. He's fucking, he'll turn 11 in June.
After a while, Tommy suggested they leave the hotel room. as he seemed uncomfortable staying there and offered them to continue the conversation in his car.
Can we go on like my car and talk about it? It's a little hesitant about this hotel room. We're just kind of,
I don't give a fuck. I'm getting my goddamn truck or car or whatever.
Is that cool?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
All right.
In starting, they begins with casual conversation. After that, Tommy convinced Billy that his son is in danger because of his ex-wife and her boyfriend. Tommy felt uncomfortable while talking in the hotel room. Then he asked to sit in the car and continued the conversation. Both Tommy and Billy decided on all the fine stuff and planned a proper murder. Tommy asks Billy to make sure that his son Eric is not anywhere nearby when everything happens.
How soon do you need it done? Roughly before like 14. I need a day or two of research, you know what I'm saying? Figure out how I'm gonna do it.
Billy explained the perfect way would be a single gunshot to the head.
Because I plan on using the gun. The most effective way is awesome. My God, got me back in there.
After Tommy asks the cost of this work, they both agreed on a $2,000 payment. At first $500 as a down payment, and further followed by $500 in 3 installments over a period of 6 weeks.
So what would that cost? How do you want it done? I don't want it around. Because I want 500 up front, and then 15 when it's done. And if I do a business deal with them, I ain't gonna go knocking on your door every day.
The plan was to be executed before May 14th, 2009. On May 8th, 2009, Friday, both met at a Walmart parking lot, and Tommy handed $500 to Billy.
All in.
Just give me a holler and let me know when you want me to, visit my friend.
No problem. I'm gonna haul out away now, because yesterday she got off at 6:30 anyway, so. I don't know if you've ever been to that job, but it's heaven. It's a sweet spot.
Hours later, Tommy received a call from Billy and asked to meet again at Walmart parking, showing the pictures to Tommy, photographic evidence of the completed murder. Tommy felt a wave of relief wash over him as the job was finally done.
Done, brother. Thank God. Done, man. Look at this stupid man. In her car, I was hiding in the woods, man. I couldn't find her ID, so I said, I snapped the picture and then took off in the woods. Perfect, dude. But you can watch the news tonight or something. I'm sure it's gonna be on there. You know what I'm saying? So great. But I just wanted to show you to know where you know it's done.
Sweet.
All right.
Oh, thank God.
All right, man.
Both men decided to part ways to preserve their alibis and avoid unnecessary complications. Moments after Tommy stepped out of Billy's car, he received a call from Detective Irving Molina, Osceola Sheriff's Department. Tommy drove his car and reached the Osceola Sheriff Department, where he met with Detective Irving Molina and his partner Detective Brett Roller. Molina explained that they were told to contact Tommy by Jay Saltzman, Elizabeth's boyfriend. Detective Molina told him that something bad happened to his ex-wife.
That's my ex-wife. It's your ex-wife? Yeah. First of all, the reason why I wanted to talk to you today was something did happen to her, and I want to try to get information from anyone who can tell me anything about her. Okay? Okay. What happened to her? You're a doctor, or I'm sorry, I'm a nurse. You're a nurse? Okay, so not a doctor yet. There's something that had happened to her. She's no longer with us at the moment. I'm sorry, to have to come straight out and tell you that. That's why I really did not want to speak to you on the phone.
Tommy didn't have much reaction if she died. They told he called the station because something bad had happened. Soon after, Detective Molina asked about his marriage and their relationship. Tommy then went on to say that it was Elizabeth who kept him away from his son and also accused her of drugging Eric in order to make him sleep.
How were you guys when you guys were married?
When we were married, she slept around with me 3 times. The night that that we split up,
I came home early from a patient's house, and she was shooting up my kid with something. And that's all on record in Orlando. She had a needle stuck in his arm. She was shooting him up to get him to go to sleep.
With what?
Don't know. I was exhausted. I'd been up for like 40 some hours, and I kicked her out of the house and took Eric and went in the bedroom and pretty much just kind of passed out. When I woke up, she come and got Eric and took him, and she went to South Dakota. It was just a big mess, the whole thing. But that's the norm for her. She just makes up crap, and it's just ridiculous.
Tommy went out to reveal to the detectives that his son Eric had complained to his best friend Mary Andrews about Jay. According to Mary, Jay had been abusive toward Eric.
So I called and say, "Oh, you want to talk with Mary?" He's like, "Yeah." And she told him that Eric told Mary that that Jay was throwing him across the room, throwing him on the ground, putting his knee in his back, slamming up against a mirror, and there was a big DCF case about it.
Altogether, Tommy hadn't painted a good picture of Elizabeth. Tommy told about, he stopped his payment support on purpose in order for Elizabeth to take him to court. He wanted to use that opportunity to expose Elizabeth's lies and double standard. Moline asked about Elizabeth's current location. He replied that he moved in with her boyfriend and denied about his current location and told that he had no contact to Elizabeth, not even to Eric recently. Tommy planned a perfect murder, but what was about to happen next? It seems like a movie scene.
And where's my son?
Your son is safe. Promise you. It's the first place we went. Yeah.
He didn't see nothing happen? He wasn't in the car or nothing?
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt.
The hitman, Billy, he is hired to kill his ex-wife, is standing in front of him. Actually, the hitman Billy, an undercover cop Howard Griffin and James introduced him to at Quality Inn Hotel, and Tommy had hired to kill Elizabeth.
You ever met this guy before? I have. I want to introduce this is an agent from the Osceola County Sheriff's Office. Okay.
Roller and Molina revealed to him that they had been investigating him for 2 weeks. And the twist in this incident that Tommy hasn't imagined is that his ex-wife Elizabeth is alive, for whom Tommy planned a perfect murder. All truth came across. The detective Molina and Roller tell him all the truth that he had been investigating him for 2 weeks. The day Tommy met Billy, and the detective had all the proof in recorded form in case Tommy denied.
For probably, 2 weeks now? All right, ever since you met Billy?
Before that.
All right. Okay.
Now we understand everything that's happened.
So
between you and Billy, what we don't understand, and I wouldn't like to leave it up to my assumption, is why? Is there something that we don't know that we should know?
And that's all.
Why would you take the steps that you did to get rid of your wife?
I didn't take any steps to get rid of my wife.
Have you been meeting with Billy the last week?
I saw him, twice.
Okay. Billy is Agent Griffin. He has been my partner for 5 years. You understand that?
Okay.
So where he goes, I go. So everywhere you've been with him, I've been there with him and with you. Now I understand from the moment that you guys first met, even prior to the moment that you guys first met. But please understand that before I come across you, I don't know you. I didn't know Elizabeth. So I don't understand what would drive a person to that point. There has to be a reason. There has to be a good reason. And I don't want to write down my assumptions of what I've known from you or I know of you. What I want to know is what you really tell me as to why, what happened, what pushed you to that point, to where we are right now.
Detective told Tommy that the evidence they have collected is enough to lock him in jail. He was arrested to commit attempted murder. Tommy Carlton was sentenced to 22 years in prison and was prohibited from having any direct or indirect contact with Elizabeth. While he was not restricted from contacting his son, Eric, the boy chose to distance himself and made no effort to reach out to his father. Despite appealing for a sentence review, both of Tommy's appeals were denied by the state. His actions revealed the dark depths of a man willing to eliminate the mother of his child, driven by greed, jealousy, and an insatiable desire for control. In his reckless pursuit of these selfish motives, Tommy showed no regard for the devastating impact on his son. Ultimately, his actions alienated him from everyone who once cared about him, leaving him utterly isolated. Do you think Tommy Carlton received the justice he deserved? And what about James Wood? Do you view him as courageous for stepping up and alerting the police when he sensed something was wrong? James's actions undoubtedly required bravery. In a situation fraught with uncertainty, his decision to act not only demonstrated his moral integrity, but also potentially saved lives. James showed the kind of courage that reminds us how one person's intervention can make a critical difference. What are your thoughts on Tommy's punishment and James's role in uncovering the truth? Share your opinions in the comments below. Stay safe, stay aware, and remember that every story has a lesson waiting to be learned.
For nearly 3 decades, the brutal slaying of young Geelong, Australian mother Annette Stewart remained shrouded in mystery. Her lifeless body was discovered in her bedroom in 1992, a cold case that seemed destined to remain unsolved, until an unexpected twist in the investigation of another more recent slaying brought new hope. In the early 1990s, Annette Stewart, a vibrant 29-year-old mother of 2, was a beloved member of the Geelong West community. Annette worked at the Winchester factory in Point Henry, where she was known for her cheerful demeanor and hardworking nature. She had a wide circle of friends and was deeply involved in the social life of Geelong West. Annette was described by her friends and family as full of life, always smiling, and willing to lend a helping hand to anyone in need. Her home on Hope Street was a hub of activity, often filled with laughter and the comforting aroma of tea, as she entertained friends and neighbors. As a single mother, Annette was dedicated to providing a loving and stable home for her children, 13-year-old Jacinta and 10-year-old Erin. She balanced her responsibilities with grace, ensuring her children felt supported and loved, despite the challenges of raising them alone. On March 16, 1992, Annette started her day early, heading to her job at the Winchester factory in Point Henry. After finishing her shift around 4:30 p.m., Annette made a few stops in Geelong to run some errands and make purchases. These routine activities were part of her everyday life and gave no inclination of the horrors that were to come. By early evening, Annette returned to her home on Hope Street. That evening, she invited 4 friends over for tea and to help her fix her television. After they left, Annette prepared for a quiet night at home. But 2 days later, a friend, David Grant, noticed her car was still parked in the driveway, an unusual sight that raised immediate concern. This friend decided to check on Annette, entering the house, only to be met with a horrifying scene. Inside, he discovered Annette's naked body in her bedroom. The home, once a haven of safety and joy, had become the site of a horrific crime. An autopsy would later reveal that Annette had been brutally strangled, a cruel and senseless act that cut her vibrant life short just weeks before her 30th birthday. In the days following the discovery of her body, Geelong West was gripped by shock and grief. The brutal nature of her demise sent ripples through the community. Victoria Police quickly launched an extensive investigation. Detectives meticulously combed through Annette's home, searching for any clues that might lead to the perpetrator. They interviewed neighbors, friends, and anyone who had been in contact with Annette in the days leading up to her tragic end. The fact that there were no signs of forced entry suggested that Annette might have known her attacker. This theory guided the initial phase of the investigation. Police collected various pieces of evidence from the crime scene, including hair fibers and other forensic materials. One of the primary suspects was a co-worker of Annette's from the Winchester factory. This individual had been named by a coroner as a prime suspect in 2007. But despite being questioned, no charges were brought against him. This suspect, along with several others, was scrutinized thoroughly, but each lead seemed to fizzle out without yielding any concrete results. The community was cooperative, and Annette's friends and family were desperate for answers. Despite the best efforts of the detectives, the investigation began to stall. The absence of modern forensic technology and the lack of substantial evidence made it increasingly difficult to pinpoint the person responsible for the heinous crime. As the months turned into years, Annette's case gradually went cold. By the mid-2000s, it had joined the ranks of many other unsolved cases in Victoria Police's cold case files. Although the original investigators had exhausted all known avenues, Annette's family and friends never gave up hope for justice. In 2015, police offered a $1 million reward for information leading to a resolution in Annette's case. This reward brought in a flurry of tips and renewed public interest, but ultimately failed to produce any actionable evidence. The case remained open but inactive, with detectives waiting on any new information that might break the case open. Then, after nearly 3 decades of unanswered questions, the breakthrough in Annette Stewart's case came from an unexpected source. It began with a phone call that reignited hope and set in motion a series of events that would lead to the end of one of Victoria's most perplexing cold cases. In 2019, Victoria Police received a tip-off that would prove pivotal. The caller claimed that the person responsible for taking Annette Stewart's life in 1992 was 56-year-old Darren Chalmers. The caller revealed to the police that Chalmers' brother, Jamie, had once confided in him that Darren Chalmers had confessed. Chalmers was working as a gardener with a history of substance abuse, living in Perth, Western Australia. Chalmers was no stranger to the initial investigators of Annette's case. He had admitted to being inside her home on the day she was fatally attacked, but there was insufficient evidence to charge him at the time. Air fibers collected from the crime scene and retested by cold case detectives yielded a faint DNA match to Chalmers. While this evidence was not strong enough to be used as definitive evidence in court, it confirmed his presence at the scene and renewed the investigators' determination. Fueled by this new development in a case that had long gone cold, Victoria Police collaborated with law enforcement in Western Australia to devise a plan to bring Chalmers to justice. Undercover operatives spent months ingratiating themselves with Chalmers, slowly gaining his trust. Their efforts paid off in January 2020, when Chalmers, believing he was among friends, finally confessed to violently ending Annette Stewart's life. He said that he was one of the people invited to drink tea at her house, as he was friends with the man Annette dated at the time. He left after 45 minutes but came back hours later, saying he had no one to celebrate his birthday with and asking to come in. His birthday was a day earlier. Annette agreed, and they drank a bit before she said he could spend the night on her couch. An hour later, he rose, took Annette's life by bashing her head 3 times with an iron before strangling her with a cord. He then left by the back door. During the same period, he also admitted to another eerily similar crime, the slaying of Diane Barrett, who had been missing since May 2019. Diane Barrett, a 60-year-old retired music teacher, was known for her kind spirit and love toward others. Living in Medina, a suburb of Perth, she often extended her generosity to her neighbors. Chalmers, who lived just 2 doors down on Ridley Way, was one such neighbor who had benefited from her compassion. On the evening of May 12, 2019, Diane invited Chalmers to her home for a meal. After dinner, she accompanied him to his house for a cup of tea. The friendly visit took a dark turn when Chalmers, without any provocation, launched a brutal attack. He jumped on Diane and used an iron bar across her neck, pressing down with both knees to choke her. The attack lasted for 3 excruciating minutes. After Diane's senseless demise, Chalmers showed no remorse or respect for her remains and dumped her body in a remote bushland southeast of Perth. To cover his tracks, Chalmers meticulously cleaned his home, wiping away any evidence of the crime. Diane's disappearance was reported by concerned neighbors when they noticed her dog locked inside her house without food or water, her lights and television still on. This was completely out of character for Diane, who was last seen alive at a local Bunnings store buying flowers for her elderly mother. Her sudden disappearance and the subsequent discovery of her dog heightened fears for her safety. The investigation into Diane's case intensified over the following months. In January 2020, during the undercover operation targeting Chalmers, he led police to the location of Diane's remains. Because of the advanced state of decomposition, she had to be identified through dental records. The exact cause that ended her life could not be determined by forensic pathologists, but Chalmers' confession provided the necessary details to piece together the tragic events of that night. In January 2021, Darren Chalmers pleaded guilty to his involvement in the Diane Barrett case. He was sentenced to life imprisonment and must serve at least 20 years before being eligible for parole. During court proceedings, details about Chalmers' troubled past, which allegedly played a significant role in shaping his violent tendencies, were revealed. Born and raised in Victoria, Chalmers was made a ward of the state during his teenage years. During this vulnerable period, he suffered assault and abuse at the hands of both men and women, leaving him with deep-seated feelings of anger and rage, particularly towards women. This background of abuse and emotional turmoil seemed to manifest in violent behavior throughout his life. Justice Stephen Hall, who presided over the case, described the slaying of Diane Barrett as an unprovoked episode of extreme violence. While acknowledging that Chalmers' substance abuse and troubled past might provide context for his actions, it did not serve as an excuse. On November 29, 2023, Chalmers returned before the Supreme Court for a pre-sentence hearing on the Annette Stewart case. The court was told Chalmers had written a one-page letter in which he asked never to be released and requested a non-parole period of 40 years, stating, "I think I deserve it." Victorian Director of Public Prosecutions, Carrie Judd KC, said Chalmers told the court he took the two women's lives believing he would secure a significant financial benefit for himself. Chalmers was handed another life sentence for taking the life of Annette Stewart and ordered to serve a single non-parole period of 36 years for both slayings. He will be in his 90s before he is eligible for parole, ensuring that he remains behind bars for the majority, if not the entirety, of his life. The cases of Annette Stewart and Diane Barrett are forever linked by their perpetrator, Darren Chalmers. The dedicated efforts of cold case detectives using undercover operations were key in solving these crimes, allowing the families of Annette Stewart and Diane Barrett to find solace in the justice served. Annette's two children, Jacinta Martin and Aaron Stewart, told the court their lives were ripped apart when their mother's life was taken, leaving them feeling like a burden on their families. Outside the court, Jillian Stewart, Annette's sister, expressed relief over the sentencing, stating, "It is nearly 32 years we have been waiting for this result. Knowing he can never do this to anyone else, this is wonderful."
I just want to say I'm very happy that it's all over. Been a long time waiting for this. Really happened with the prosecution team. They've really done a great job.
They say justice doesn't bring back the dead, but for families left behind, it offers a sliver of peace. For Connie Bennett, that peace was 37 years in the making. Her world was shattered in January 1984 when she discovered her son, daughter-in-law, and granddaughter brutally murdered in their Colorado home. The only survivor, a 3-year-old fighting for her life. This is the story of the Bennett family, a tale of horror, survival, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Bruce and Deborah Bennett seem to have it all. A loving marriage, 2 beautiful daughters, Melissa and Vanessa, and a bright future ahead. Bruce, a former Navy sonar analyst, was studying to become an air traffic controller while helping run the family's furniture business. Deborah, the eldest of 4 siblings, was the glue that held her family together. Their home in Aurora, Colorado, was filled with love, laughter, and big dreams. On January 15, 1984, the Bennetts hosted a pre-birthday celebration for Melissa, who was about to turn 8. Family members came and went, the house buzzing with joy. But as the night ended, no one could have imagined the nightmare about to unfold. The next morning, Connie Bennett grew concerned when neither Bruce nor Deborah showed up for work. She went to their home, where she made a horrifying discovery. Bruce's lifeless body lay at the foot of the stairs, his skull shattered, his throat slashed. In the master bedroom, Deborah was found beaten to death. Little Melissa's body was discovered in her room, her face covered by a blanket, showing signs of a brutal assault. Amid the carnage, there was a faint glimmer of hope. 3-year-old Vanessa was found clinging to life, her body riddled with injuries. Her jaw was broken, her arms and legs fractured, and she had suffered unimaginable trauma. She was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, barely hanging on. Detectives quickly realized this wasn't an isolated incident. Just 2 weeks earlier, another couple in Aurora had been attacked in their home, surviving only by sheer luck. Days later, Patricia Smith, a 50-year-old woman, was murdered in her living room in Lakewood, Colorado, in a strikingly similar manner. A hammer appeared to be the weapon of choice, and the killer left behind eerie clues, blood-stained footprints, and ransacked purses. Investigators collected evidence meticulously: fingerprints, DNA samples, and pieces of carpet. Yet, forensic science in the 1980s was primitive, and no immediate leads emerged. The community was gripped with fear. Families double-locked their doors, and whispers of the hammer killer spread like wildfire. As time passed, the killer's methods became clear. He targeted homes with open garage doors, struck swiftly, and left a trail of devastation. Despite the profiler's insights, a young man, likely working in construction, the trail went cold. The Bennett family murders and the other attacks remained unsolved for decades. Fast forward to 2018. Advances in DNA technology offered new hope. Detectives partnered with a genealogist to analyze DNA from the crime scenes. Within a week, they found a match. Alex Ewing, an inmate serving time in Nevada for a 1984 attempted murder. Ewing, a drifter with a history of violent crimes, had lived in Colorado during the attacks. In a calculated move, detectives interviewed Ewing under the guise of a routine inquiry. He admitted to working in construction in Aurora and Lakewood, but denied involvement in the murders. When shown photos of the crime scenes, his demeanor shifted. Detectives had what they needed. Ewing's DNA matched the samples from the Bennett and Smith crime scenes. In 2021, Ewing was extradited to Colorado to face trial for the Bennett family murders. The prosecution presented a compelling case, drawing chilling parallels between the attacks on the Bennetts and Patricia Smith. Both involved hammer blows, sexual assault, and ransacked homes. Ewing's defense argued mishandled evidence, but the DNA told the truth. Connie Bennett, now elderly, gave a heart-wrenching testimony about finding her son's family. The jury took just hours to convict Ewing, sentencing him to 3 life terms without parole. In 2022, he faced trial for Patricia Smith's murder, receiving yet another life sentence. For Vanessa Bennett, the only survivor, the capture of her family's killer brought little solace. She endured years of physical and emotional pain, battling addiction and depression. But Vanessa found the strength to rebuild her life. She got clean, started a family, and began sharing her story of survival. "What did we do wrong?" she once asked. "Nothing. We were just a happy family."
You know, what did they do wrong? They didn't do anything. You know, they were young. They were in their mid-20s.
Are you hopeful about the future?
I am. I have big things planned, and I know it sounds like it's a little late because I'm 38 years old, but it's never too late.
Her resilience serves as a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable darkness, hope can prevail. Justice may not undo the pain or bring back the lives lost, but it provides closure. The Bennett family's story reminds us of the fragility of life and the enduring strength of those left behind. What are your thoughts on this case? Does justice truly bring peace, or does the damage linger forever? Let us know in the comments. If you found this story compelling, hit the like button and subscribe for more true crime deep dives. Thank you for watching. When people vanish without a trace, their last words or actions often take on a haunting new meaning. Here are 5 chilling cases where recordings left behind deepened the mysteries. 1. Susan Powell, a video that predicted disaster. On July 29, 2008, Susan Powell, a mother of 2 from Utah, recorded a video unlike any other. In it, she calmly documented the valuables in her home. Her words, however, carried a grim undertone. "Just in case something happens to me or my family, I'm covering all my bases." Susan had been seeing a divorce attorney and feared her husband, Josh Powell, might try to sell her belongings. Their marriage was anything but peaceful, as Susan hinted at in the video.
This is all stuff bought in a year or less through Home Depot on my credit. Josh bought a lot of stuff and then he had to bankrupt it. And then he bought a little bit more on my credit. There's a nice lamp. These are things to roll wood with. And I had necklaces too. I don't know where those are. I got in a rage, as you can see, and broke this. There's duds and pearls and opals in there. Broke this and threw all my DVDs and made a mess. Because he was angry at me about a year or two back.
She detailed how Josh had drained her finances and flown into rages that left her belongings broken and scattered. In December 2009, Susan vanished. Josh claimed she'd stayed home while he took their sons camping in a blizzard at midnight, an excuse no one believed. Police later found her will, where she chillingly wrote, "If I die, it may not be an accident." Josh moved to Washington with his sons, but lost custody after his erratic behavior raised alarms. In 2012, during a supervised visit, he locked a social worker out of his house, set it on fire, and killed himself and his 2 boys. Susan's body has never been found, but the video she left behind is a haunting reminder that she knew something terrible could happen. 2. Amber Tukaro. A disturbing phone call. Amber Tukaro was a 20-year-old Canadian First Nations woman who vanished in 2012 while hitchhiking near Edmonton. The last time anyone heard from her was during a chilling phone call to her brother. In the recording, Amber sounded distressed, repeatedly asking the driver where they were going. The man reassured her they were heading to her destination, but his voice dripped with dishonesty. "You better not be taking me somewhere I don't want to go."
Where are we by? We're just heading south of Beaumont, or north of Beaumont. We're heading north of Beaumont. Yo, where are we going? No, this is a... Are you kidding me? You better not take me anywhere I don't want to go. I want to go into the city. Jeez. Yo, we're not going into the city, are we? No, we're not. Yeah. Then where these roads going to? 50th Street. 50th Street. Are you sure? Absolutely. Yo, where are we going? 50th Street. 50th Street? 50th Street. East, right? East. Over town. Bravo.
Amber's remains were discovered days later on a rural property, but the investigation was plagued by police mishandling. Evidence was destroyed, and the case was dismissed early on as a misunderstanding. Years later, women came forward naming the man in the recording, but no arrests were made. 3. Kenny Veach, the M Cave. Mystery? Kenny Veach, a seasoned hiker, left a comment on YouTube in 2014 about a strange cave he found near Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. He described how approaching the cave made his body vibrate uncontrollably, forcing him to flee in fear. Encouraged by curious viewers, Kenny uploaded a video documenting his attempt to find the cave again.
Well, here I am on my hike up here in the mountains north of Las Vegas. This is a canyon I just walked up in. Now you can't tell, but my truck is way out there by the mountains at the very, very end of this valley.
He wandered the Mojave Desert, filming as he walked, but the cave eluded him.
Kinda right there. That's kind of cool. All right, I'm gonna turn it off and then I'll turn it back on here. Look at that, that's pretty cool right there. Huh. All right, off with the camera.
Critics called him a fraud, and Kenny vowed to return a third time. In November 2014, he set out alone. Days later, searchers found his phone near a mine shaft, but Kenny was never seen again. Some believe he succumbed to the harsh desert, while others suspect the cave may have concealed something sinister, perhaps even a military secret. 4. Henry McCabe. A voicemail from the unknown. Henry McCabe, an auditor from Minnesota, went missing in September 2015 after a night out with friends. The last contact with him was a voicemail left on a friend's phone. The message was incomprehensible, a mix of growls, moans, and Henry's faint voice. To some, it sounded like he was being attacked. Henry's wife reported him missing the next day, and his phone records revealed calls to an untraceable Texas number. A month later, his body was found in a nearby lake. Police found no signs of foul play, but the voicemail and Henry's odd behavior before his death suggests there's more to the story than meets the eye. 5. Brandon Lawson. A frantic 911 call. In August 2013, Brandon Lawson, a 26-year-old father from Texas, vanished after an argument with his girlfriend. Late that night, his truck ran out of gas on a desolate stretch of highway, and Brandon made a frantic call to 911. "Yes, I'm in the middle of a field. I ran into them. Guys, we're out here going toward Abilene. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. Please hurry."
911 emergency.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. The safer just pushed some guys over. Right here going towards Abilene on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. The guy's chasing to the woods. Please hurry.
Okay, now run that by me.
I'm not talking to him. I actually ran into him.
Ah, you ran into him. Okay.
Got the first guy.
Do you need an ambulance?
Yeah, no, I need the cops.
Okay. Is anybody hurt? Hello? Hello? Hello?
The operator struggled to understand his cryptic words, but Brandon sounded panicked and disoriented. Minutes later, another driver reported Brandon's truck parked dangerously on the road. But when authorities arrived, he was gone. Brandon's brother received bizarre phone calls from him that night. He claimed he was being chased and was bleeding, but no trace of him was found. Years later, human remains were discovered near the site, but questions about what happened to Brandon remain unanswered. Each of these recordings provides a chilling glimpse into the final moments of these missing persons' lives. What would you do if you heard such a recording from someone you loved? Thank you for joining us on this journey into the shadows of mystery and intrigue. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Crime Tales for more chilling cases and units.
The life is not over. She will die. Back up. Hey, back. Push it forward. Push what forward? Alex, stop. Stop. Stop.
Lincoln Road, Miami Beach. A summer evening. Tourists shopping. Families dining. And inside Victoria's Secret, someone is about to die. 2 women, 1 knife, and an escaped convict with nothing left to lose. At point-blank range, a Miami Beach police officer will make a decision, one that will save 2 lives and end another. This is not a story about what could have been. It's about what happened in those final minutes, when every second was measured in heartbeats. To understand what happened on Lincoln Road, we have to start 1,500 miles north, at the Calumet Transitional Housing Unit in New Hampshire. This is Darian Young, 29 years old, incarcerated for burglary and controlled drug offenses, a minimum security resident. On July 21st, 2023, 6 days before the shooting, Young walked off the grounds and never came back. Authorities issued alerts, but Young had already vanished. By the time he surfaced in Miami Beach, he was 1,500 miles from his last known location with no money, no resources, and nowhere left to run. July 27th, 2023, 5:30 p.m. The sun is setting over Lincoln Road, one of Miami's busiest pedestrian malls. Inside Victoria's Secret, a teenage girl is shopping with family. A store employee is working her shift. Neither of them knows that in the next few minutes, they will become hostages. At 5:34 p.m., a 911 call comes in from inside the store. He said, "Put the phones down because he's gonna get in a shootout." The caller is frantic. Someone inside the store is armed with a knife and threatening violence. Multiple callers report the same thing: a man with a blade, hostages trapped inside, a threat to kill. Miami Beach police dispatch multiple units. This is not a shoplifting call. This is not a disturbance. This is an active hostage situation in the middle of one of the most crowded areas in South Florida. Officers arrive within minutes. Body cameras roll, and what they find inside will test every second of their training.
The weapon unit is to secure the store and what's wrong with the police. So it's AT&T right now. I have one at gunpoint with 2 hostages. Yes, AT&T is en route. 972. Let's start making a call. References this call. Kind of like reference. Yeah. I'm gonna need a unit. Lincoln North in Jefferson. Lincoln North in Michigan. Lincoln South in Michigan for now. Also in Meridian.
Hey, who you with, boss? Hey, step out behind the corner.
As officers rush into Victoria's Secret, shoppers are evacuating in panic. But 2 people cannot leave. There, in the back of the store,
Andrea, we need to know his arms. Is he a knife around his head? Yeah. What? Drop this chick, I'm gonna fucking. Yeah, just shoot. Holster down! Back up! Your life is not over, I'm telling you right now, I swear to God! Your life is not over! She will die! Your life is not over! Your life, listen to me! Don't do it! Back up! Don't do it! Hey, back! What's going on? Crossfire, watch crossfire! What's going on? No, crossfire, now! Watch cross. Watch cross. Watch cross. Just back up. All of you! Tell me what is bitches, just put the knife down, man, and we'll talk. Push that forward. Push it forward! Push what forward? Her. She knows what I'm talking about.
Darian Young has a teenage girl and a store employee in dual chokeholds, a tactical knife pressed against their throats. This is the configuration every officer dreads. 2 unarmed victims, 1 armed suspect, no clean line of fire. Officer Corey Jackson steps forward, weapon drawn. Other officers fan out, covering angles. Young doesn't move. The standoff begins. Officer voices remain calm, controlled, but the tension is suffocating. For the next several minutes, officers attempt every de-escalation technique in their playbook, but Young is not listening.
Her. She knows what I'm talking about. Cart, in front of the mirror. Girl. Go out that way. Oh, please. Hey, go out that way. Just back. Go that way. Go that way. Move the cart. What cart? Move that rack. Move this rack so he can see in the mirror.
Cheers, 28.
Back up. You're good.
outside the store. And you communicate with the subject. Right now, we need available units on Lincoln Road, between Jefferson and Michigan. Assisting with carrying out the doors.
The teenage girl is visibly terrified. The employee is struggling to breathe. Young's grip tightens, but the suspect is escalating. Multiple officers have weapons drawn. The geometry is impossible. Any shot risks hitting a hostage. This is every tactical nightmare made real. And then, Young begins to count. Officers know what this means. This is not a bluff. This is a countdown to murder. Young pulls both women down into a corner of the store. The knife remains at their throats. The reactionary gap, the distance an officer needs to respond before a blade becomes lethal, is now measured in inches. Officer Jackson makes a decision. He begins advancing, slowly, deliberately, closing the distance. In use of force doctrine, this is called drawing the line, the moment when waiting becomes more dangerous than acting. Jackson is now within arm's reach. The knife is still pressed against skin. The hostages are still in the kill zone. But if he doesn't act now, there will be no second chance. In the final second, everything collapses into instinct. Young makes a slight movement. The knife shifts. Officer Jackson fires a single round, point-blank range, striking Young in the head.
Stop! Bro, you good? You good?
Young collapses. The teenager runs, screaming, gasping, alive. The employee stumbles forward, shaking, crying, breathing. Officers swarm the scene, securing the knife, checking the victims, starting CPR on Young. But it's already over. Officer Corey Jackson, the man who just saved 2 lives, is seen on body cam, hands trembling, processing what just happened.
Good. You gotta breathe. I gotta breathe, bro. That's it. Breathe. Call me. Just call me. All right, like that. I got your glass. Give me your glass. I got it, bro. Come on.
Darian Young is rushed to Jackson Memorial Hospital's Ryder Trauma Center. Despite life-saving efforts, he is pronounced dead. The 2 hostages are treated at the scene, physically unharmed. Psychologically, that's another story. As required by Florida law, the shooting is immediately investigated by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office. Body camera footage is reviewed, frame by frame, second by second. Use of force experts analyze distance, positioning, threat level, alternatives. On July 2nd, 2024, nearly 1 year after the shooting, the state attorney's office releases its findings. Officer Corey Jackson's use of deadly force was legally justified. He acted in defense of others, under imminent threat of death, with no reasonable alternative. The tactical knife Young held to the hostages' throats was recovered at the scene, a physical reminder of how close 2 innocent women came to dying on a summer evening in Miami Beach. But legal justification doesn't erase the questions. Could this have ended differently? Some argue yes, that more time could have de-escalated the situation, that Young was mentally unstable, not purely malicious, that there's always another option. Others argue no, that the countdown was real, that the knife was already moving, that waiting 1 more second could have meant 2 dead women. This case sits at the intersection of impossible realities. A fugitive with nothing to lose, 2 innocent people with everything to live for, and 8 minutes that felt like 8 hours. When you watch the footage, ask yourself, At what point does patience become paralysis? At what moment does waiting become complicity? And if not, then when? Officer Corey Jackson had less than a second to decide. He couldn't call for backup, couldn't wait for a negotiator, couldn't freeze time and weigh all the options. He had to act, and in that fraction of a second, he chose life over death. Today, Lincoln Road looks exactly as it did before. Tourists shop, families eat, life goes on. But for the two women who were held at knife point that day, nothing is the same. For Officer Corey Jackson, who made the hardest decision of his career, nothing is the same. And for the family of Darian Young, who lost someone they loved, nothing is the same. This is what body cam footage gives us: transparency, accountability, evidence, but it cannot give us certainty. Because when lives are on the line, when hostages are seconds from death, judgment doesn't happen in hindsight. It happens in the space between heartbeats. Watch the footage, study the timeline, decide for yourself. Because these stories aren't just about police, they're about all of us, and what we're willing to do when evil walks through the door. If you believe these stories matter, subscribe to our channel. Real cases, real footage, real questions. Like this video. Share your thoughts in the comments, and join us next time when we break down another case that changed everything in an instant.
What if the worst thing you'd ever see in your life was already in the trunk? On the morning of May 20th, 2022, two patrol officers in Spring Park, Minnesota were wrapping up a quiet shift. Nothing unusual, just another Minnesota morning. And then they saw her, a Chevy Impala crawling down the road with no front tire, just metal grinding against asphalt. The rear window, shattered, the body of the car, riddled with what looked like bullet holes. The officers exchanged a glance. They hit the sirens. They had no idea what they were about to find. The car pulled over. Inside was 31-year-old Jalissa Thaler. And right away, something was wrong. She was nervous, not the kind of nerves you get from a speeding ticket. This was something deeper, something animal.
Oh, I know I'm going home right now.
You going where?
I'm going home right now to dinner.
Okay, where's home?
Just down the block. Do you mind if I get on my way? I really can't drive home. It's gonna be...
Right, so that's why you're being stopped right now, because you don't have a tire.
Exactly, and I'm on my way. I literally live 1 block away.
Okay, do you have a driver's license on you today?
Her hands were stained red. When the officers asked about the car, the missing tire, the broken glass, the damage, Jalissa had an explanation ready. Paintballs, she said. BB bullets. Just a rough morning. But paintballs don't do that. Her speech was scattered. Her answers didn't add up.
Okay, so you said kids were shooting BBs at your window? When was that?
Like an hour ago.
So they shot off your tire with a paintball gun?
Yeah.
Okay, so paintballs don't break a tire though.
Well, they must have been doing something because it was really, 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 really...
She kept shifting, looking at the door, looking at the officers, looking anywhere but their eyes, and the stains, dark, rust-colored stains, on the roof, on the seats, along the doors, pressed deep into the fabric. It looked like blood. It smelled like blood. But Jalissa had an answer for everything. Each question, each new detail, a new explanation, each one thinner than the last.
Why is your hand all bloody?
Because I was just...
Then Jalissa changed tactics. She stopped explaining and started demanding, "Leave me alone. Let me go home. You have no reason to hold me." And technically, she wasn't wrong. The officers had no clear probable cause to detain her. They began discussing a police escort. Just drive her home. Move on. That would have been the worst mistake of their lives.
What's that?
I just wanted to know if I could go home.
Let's step out of the road right here.
I just wanted to put a tire on my car because it's super...
Yeah, we got a lot going on here, but let's get out of the road because I don't want to.
Fairview Apartments, if you know where that is, right across the street.
Man, let's get out of the roadway. So all this happened because kids were shooting BB guns at you.
And I saw some kids shooting at my at my tire. And I yelled out the window. I said, "Excuse me, you guys, that's my car. What are you doing?" And I ran out there to go get them. Didn't get a chance to wash my hands or anything. And then I noticed the tire was like peeling off the on it, and the tire completely fell off.
So is the tire still back at the parking lot of the building, or where's the tire?
The tire fell off somewhere over there at the parking lot. Are you trying to search me or something?
No, because you have blood, I'm just gonna put gloves on.
One officer stood still, staring at the car, at the stains, at the shell casings, at the smell that hung in the morning air. He said quietly, "I've got a bad feeling about the trunk."
Here's your thoughts on one thing. We have not checked the trunk, and I have this terrible feeling about the trunk, and I've had it the whole time. I don't know if we can peek or if we want to leave it alone or knock and say, "Hey, anyone in there?" Whoa. Whoa.
That might be the deer meat that she took out of the car to put in the trunk.
Watch yourself. We don't know if it's loaded or not.
What is this? Is it an ant? It looks like a kid's leg. Okay. Oh, hey. We need as many body cams up here as we can here. Just get some body cams up. We had to safety check this thing. Blanket. There's a shotgun there. There's a shotgun right aimed at you. There's weight to this blanket.
Okay. Alright, let's cover it.
What they found inside broke them, wrapped in a blanket, curled in the dark, a headless baby body, a child, a little child, stuffed in the trunk of a car.
Let's go grab her.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll get her right now.
Bayview condos.
She ran in there, by the way. She booked it when she got out.
Okay, so we get there. She ran in her apartment. She's not going to come to the door.
We're going to have to.
We're just going to boot it.
Yeah, we're going to go. We're going.
Within minutes, a full team descended on her apartment, officers in bulletproof shields, ready for anything.
Police, come to the door! Police, come to the door! Open the door, we'll kick it down! Open the door! Take it. Police, come to the door!
Check that right there, check it.
I got the door here. Police! Touch that one.
Police department!
Watch that one. I'll cover this one. Don't with your hands up! Announce yourself! Please announce yourself!
But she was already gone. Her and an unidentified man, slipping out of the building just minutes before police arrived. She had played them. She had stalled, argued, panicked on cue, and bought herself just enough time to vanish. But criminals always leave a trail. Inside the apartment, bloody clothes crammed into the washing machine. Outside, in the trash, a baby's booster seat soaked in blood. Backpacks, kindergarten homework, a child's life discarded like garbage. And inside one of those backpacks, an ID card, Eli Hart, 6 years old. His mother's name was printed right beneath his. Surveillance footage from the apartment building confirmed what detectives already feared. At 11:22 a.m., Jalissa had walked out of that apartment with Eli at her side. She'd placed him in the back seat of her car. That was the last time Eli Hart was seen alive. They caught her. A sharp-eyed patrol officer spotted Jalissa and her companion just miles away, the description matching exactly what had been radioed out.
You want to double laugh up? I can find sort of search it.
Do I mind the arrest? Don't have anything on here.
Hey, well, here. My way here.
Why'd you arrest my boyfriend?
We'll talk here.
Okay.
What the f is going on? We'll explain to you at the police department.
Well, no, what the f is going on? Seriously.
You'll be explained to it at the police department. You're being detained right now.
For what?
Put him in there for now.
For what? They ain't doing this. Walk down the streets all noise.
She was brought in for questioning, and what followed was something even seasoned detectives rarely see. Jalissa didn't break. She didn't confess. She didn't cry. She pivoted. She performed. She constructed story after story, each one carefully designed to buy time and point the finger elsewhere.
You're being held and arrested for suspicion of being involved in a homicide.
And what homicide would that be? Because it's ridiculous.
Well, that's what I think we have to talk about a few things here.
Sure. Yeah, could you tell me like what you think I did and who is this person, and if you could answer those two questions, that would be awesome.
I wasn't driving with anything in my trunk. That's not my son.
What do you think was found in the trunk of that vehicle?
I'm not sure what was in there.
I think you know.
I don't. Oh, can you tell me what it was? And maybe I'll know why I'm here.
There's a dead body in the trunk of that car. A dead juvenile body.
Really? Who was it?
That's what I can't answer right now. That's why I'm here talking to you right now.
The reason why we don't know who it was is because the head was missing.
What? In my car?
When I talked to you earlier, you had told me that you had that car and you were doing Instacart from 10 p.m. till 6 a.m.
And then, when those stories collapsed, she introduced a new villain, her ex-husband, Tory Hart, Eli's biological father. He was abusive, she said. He had tortured them. He was dangerous. She wove a portrait of a monster, desperate to become the victim in a story where she was the perpetrator.
Today I was assaulted by somebody, and I have a really long history with my ex. Even like the meth community.
So I can't answer you. I can't answer any questions after that. I mean, are you stating that you still want to speak with us? I mean.
Yeah, I guess I'm just telling you a few things after the fact.
Officers circle back to their main concerns, now mentioning her son Eli to try to confirm if the body is her son's.
Do you have any kids?
I have a son.
You have a son? How old's your son?
6.
6 years old?
Yeah.
What's your son's name?
Eli?
Does Eli live with you?
He does, but he was with my boyfriend.
Where was Eli today? Because, I mean, you know, we were at your apartment earlier.
He's with my boyfriend.
Who's your boyfriend?
Rob.
Rob? Okay.
As the questions begin to heat up, Jalissa loses patience and seems restless to leave.
Can I just go home and check on my baby and check on my house and everything?
Well, I thought you said Eli was with Rob.
Yeah, I need to go home. I need to find my phone. You guys took my car that had my phone. It had my
Well,
money.
right now I know that there's nobody at your house. I know that.
Would I be able to go home? Can you release me?
I need to paint this picture.
Okay, so maybe you can ask me questions, but I don't want to be under arrest. Like, I didn't do anything.
Meanwhile, detectives brought in her boyfriend, Rob, and Rob revealed something that gave investigators a chilling possible motive, an insurance policy taken out on Eli.
There's him wrapped up. Dead. So what do you think?
I think he killed him.
Why do you think that?
But I know it wasn't me. I was sleeping all night. I put everything in love. I slept all night.
You just said you think she killed him.
I don't know why. I don't know what for. What was the motive? What's this? What's that? What's it gonna cause? What's it gonna prove? What? I don't know. Can't think it into my head.
But then Rob mentioned something that could prove to be the missing link, the motive behind Eli's murder.
Unless there was insurance policy money, guarantee there was.
You guarantee there was?
There could have been, yeah. I didn't think that.
Detectives still think Rob's involved in the murder, but he refuses to agree.
No, it wasn't me. I was sleeping all night that night. If I went out to bed, it didn't make sense. Doesn't make sense in my head right now. I'm thinking. I went to bed, she was arguing with him, and then that's about it. I don't know nothing else after that. She killed him. I know she did.
How do you know it?
I just know she did. I know for a fact she did.
How?
I know for a fact she did.
How?
Because I just do.
Because what?
I just do. I just know.
You can't, that's not
She's the only person that had to have done it. The only person.
You can't say I know for a fact.
She's the only one that had access to that gun, not me. I didn't know where it was. She put it away in storage or something, she said she did. And she pulled it out the same night that he died. That's pretty f***ed up. Don't you think so?
When you guys would get done shooting, she would put the gun away somewhere that you didn't know?
Yeah.
It wouldn't stay in the car?
No.
It would come into the apartment?
Yeah.
And then she put it somewhere in the apartment?
I don't know where.
I'm just saying, we know that you didn't leave Thursday
Let me
night.
tell you something.
She's kind of pointing the fingers at other people. How can you help yourself? How can you help yourself? How can you prove?
I see my phone, I can do something.
How can you prove that when she says, we planned this, he knows all about it?
I don't know what you're talking about. What is plan what?
How can you help yourself get out of that?
Rob, when we, in anything that
I'm confused, man. I don't get this shit.
In anything that we deal with, when somebody tells us one thing, what do? We investigate it.
What plan? What are you talking about?
Rob denied involvement, but the information sat there, heavy and cold, in the middle of the interrogation room. The medical examiner's report was released, and it confirmed every nightmare. Eli Hart, 6 years old, shot approximately 9 times. He had been strapped helplessly into his car seat when it happened. He never had a chance to run, never had a chance to fight. Eli was prelingually deaf. He couldn't hear the gun being loaded. He couldn't hear the danger coming. He trusted the person who was supposed to protect him most. And even faced with the autopsy report, even faced with the surveillance footage, the bloody clothes, the physical evidence, the timeline, Jalissa Thaler said nothing. Not a single word of confession.
Is that a little boy, Brent? Yeah. That's Eli. It's Eli.
Could you confirm it?
It's Eli in the trunk of your car.
He's such a good person. You confirmed it? Are you sure? Are you sure? I don't want him to be involved at all in whatever they're doing, but you confirmed it's 100% my baby boy? I'm not getting an answer from you, yes or no. That's kind of important.
Yeah, that's Eli.
So yes? What is that?
You tell me.
I don't know. You tell me.
That's Eli's booster seat. From your car.
Did you find the people who did this? Was there DNA on me? You used to call them, but I know that there's other ways of finding out.
We're here talking about your dead son.
And I'm here telling you who did it. But I didn't know he was dead. You're telling me my baby boy is dead?
This dumpster is where we recovered a lot of his head, brain, tissue. This is the same dumpster that we have witnesses. That's this car with no tire and a broken up window, describing you dumping all this stuff in.
Do you have any witnesses of the rape?
Investigate Eli's death for him. We're here to get answers for him.
He
Because we
is
think
the most important person in the world.
because we think he deserves it.
He deserves everything. He's not actually. Like, how do you know?
You know he is.
How do you know?
You know he is.
You're making assumptions. How do you know that I know? I really need a lawyer, but I want you to know that this baby boy is the most important person in the world to me. I would never hurt him. I would never do anything to him. I protect him. You have to believe me. This is my baby boy.
So we have scenes all around town where you were seen dumping parts of Eli in garbage
What do
cans.
you mean?
In garbage cans,
I would never do that.
dumpsters.
Witnesses saw you take this and throw it into a dumpster.
I would never do that.
This case will stay with you, not just because of the horror of what happened to Eli, but because of how close it came to staying hidden. One trunk, one officer with a bad feeling, one moment of hesitation that almost became the difference between justice and nothing. Those officers almost drove Jalissa home that morning, almost let her walk away, almost let a 6-year-old boy disappear without a trace. Almost. Eli Hart deserves so much more than the 6 years he was given. But thanks to one officer who listened to his gut, his story wasn't buried in that trunk forever. The trunk that stayed closed too long. The traffic stop that will be remembered forever for what it almost prevented. Rest in peace, Eli. If this story moved you, subscribe, because every week we make sure voices like Eli's are never forgotten.
In the middle of a quiet California neighborhood, a single security camera begins recording. From the shadows of one ordinary house, a window creaks open. A thin, scared girl steps into the cold night. She looks left, then right, and runs. Clutching a broken cell phone, she whispers to herself, "This is my only chance."
Hey, what are you reporting? Hello? This is 911. Do you have an emergency? I just ran away from home. Do you know what street you're on? No. I just ran away from home because I live in a family of 15, okay? Can you hear me? And we have abusing parents. Did you hear that?
Okay, how did they abuse you?
Okay. They hit us, they throw us across, they like to throw us across the room. They pull our hair, they yank out our hair. I have my two little sisters right now are chained up.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 17.
What's your name?
Golden Turpin.
Okay, I'm going to connect you to the sheriff's department so that they can help
What?
you. One moment, don't hang up.
I won't.
The operator freezes, a child's trembling voice describing a nightmare no one could imagine. That night, one girl made a call that would change everything, a call that would uncover a secret buried for years, trying to save her 12 siblings, a secret the world would soon call the House of Horrors. For years, no one knew they even existed. No friends, no school, no doctors, no birthdays, only rules, only punishment, only survival. In January 2018, in Paris, California, police received that chilling 911 call. The operator did not disconnect the call. The dispatcher tried to track her location from GPS. After 20 minutes, the police officer reached her location. This is the body cam footage, the deputy as he arrives. You can see the fear in her eyes. He asks where she came from, and in a soft, stammering voice, she says, "From that house, right there." A house that looked just like every other in the neighborhood, but that night, behind those walls, was something unimaginable. Jordan begins to explain, haltingly. She talks about her brothers and sisters, that they're not allowed to eat when they want, that they're beaten, they're chained.
Do you have pictures of that?
Yes, I can show you. I actually didn't have it, and then one of my sisters told me I need to get pictures.
You have pictures of your sisters chained up?
Yes, but they're in here. Okay. I don't have proof of everything, but I have proof that my sisters are chained up. So see?
She doesn't seem to know the word bruised.
Here, you can look at that. See, those are the places that make it known that. And see how dirty she is? We are so filthy. We don't take baths. We don't.
How did your sisters get like this?
Okay.
Your parents chained them up?
Yes, because they stole food.
Okay.
But they stole it because they were hungry.
Who took this picture?
I did. I took those pictures.
Okay. You make sure to save these, okay?
Okay, I will.
Don't get rid of those.
I will. I won't.
At first, the officer doesn't believe her. He asks for proof. Jordan scrolls through the phone. Her shaking fingers open the photo gallery, and what the officer sees freezes his breath. Photos of 2 small girls chained to their beds, rusty chains cutting into their wrists, a filthy room littered with trash and human waste.
What are your parents going to do when they find out you left?
They're going to want to literally kill me.
What's the worst thing they've done to you?
They have choked me against the bed and...
Did you call the police?
I didn't have a way to get a phone yet. This is the first chance I got.
Jordan was telling the officer about her mother Louise Turpin and father David Turpin, according to Louise's sisters. Louise ran away from home when she was only 16. She married 23-year-old David, and then Louise gave birth to 13 children. Now it's 7 a.m. The darkness is lifting.
Been doing a welfare check?
Yeah.
The officers knocked on the door for 2 to 3 minutes. The 2 came out. David asked for the search warrant. The officers don't have a search warrant, so they prepare to carry out a warrantless search. They determined the situation as exigent circumstances. This is the body cam video. What they see inside, no human being should ever have to witness. The air inside the house is thick and suffocating. The stench of rot, decay, and filth fills the rooms. Everywhere. Piles of garbage, spoiled food, feces on the floor, and then in the dim light, they see them. Dozens of unopened boxes, children's toys. Lots of clothes were scattered all over the floor. Monstrous piles of garbage. 2 officers walked toward the back, where the children's bedrooms were. The air grew heavier, a suffocating mix of decay and silence. The first room was small, packed with narrow bunk beds, but completely bare otherwise. The second was worse. Filthy mattresses on the floor, the stench of rot, and 2 frail little girls sitting motionless on top of them, their eyes vacant, their faces pale. Terrified and confused, the children stayed silent, until one of them, barely able to move, subtly pointed toward a sliding closet door. The officers quickly realized they were standing in the same room from the photos Jordan had shown them. But something was missing. The chains. Near the entrance, the officer kept David and Louise distracted with small talk. As the officer adjusted to the dim light, he noticed something odd near the entryway. David had been standing awkwardly, almost blocking his view of a small doorway. The officer stepped into the hidden room and froze. A young boy was chained to the top bunk bed, his wrists and ankles bound with heavy restraints. Back in the girls' room, Officer Rodriguez slid open the closet door. The smell hit him first. Then the sight. Another child. Another chain. That was the moment everything changed. Louise looked bewildered as officers gently but firmly took her by the arm. David Turpin followed silently, expression blank. All 13 children were taken to the hospital immediately. David and Louise were arrested the same night. Both were charged with 12 counts of torture, 12 counts of false imprisonment, 7 counts of abuse of a dependent adult, and 6 counts of child abuse. In court, they appeared calm and emotionless. During sentencing, several of the children gave heart-wrenching statements. Some forgave their parents. Others said they still have nightmares. In 2019, both David and Louise were sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. The Turpin children were taken into state care and began the slow process of healing. Several of them suffered from PTSD, malnutrition, and developmental delays. Sadly, a later investigation revealed that some of the siblings faced neglect even after being rescued, due to failures in California's child protection system, a second tragedy on top of their first. But there is hope. Jordan and her sister Jennifer later spoke publicly in interviews with Diane Sawyer. Sharing how they are rebuilding their lives, they now advocate for better protection for abused children and foster youth. This story started with one brave girl making one phone call. Sometimes the most ordinary-looking places hide the most extraordinary secrets. And sometimes it takes just one person refusing to stay silent to change everything. If you want to hear more stories like this, stories that matter, stories of survival, make sure to subscribe.